afternoon, Adrian.
Good evening. Good evening, Adrian. How are you?
I'm good. And yourself?
I'm doing great. This is Sharon Clemments. This is this the Power of You Self-Help Optimization Program. We focus on holistic health and self-care. And tonight I'm going to do something a little different. I don't have a guest tonight. And we're going to talk about cancer. I know Brother Tony Moore talked about cancer as well. We're going to continue that conversation. My focus is a little different, a lot different from his. I'm going to talk a lot about things that one can do to heal their body holistically from cancer. Cancer is the number 2 leading cause of death in America. Often we'll hear statistics, and it sounds like, we're winning this war on cancer. Back when Nixon was president, he declared a war on cancer. And actually, the statistics are a little confusing. There hasn't been a lot of progress, and part of the reason is because there hasn't been many different changes to the protocols or the treatments that the allopathic medical system uses to deal with cancer. Basically, you have 3 things that they offer you, and that's surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. And I'd like to include chemotherapy. You have hormone treatment and you have immunotherapy. It's all chemicals. And so I'd like to talk about another avenue that we can take, one that I've used myself. So I'm not just blowing out air, I've used it myself, and that's holistic healing methods and modalities. Often we hear that that cancer survival rates are up, and I just like to explain a little bit about survival rates according to the allopathic medical system. They're based on a 5-year survival. So if you are still breathing 5 years from the date you were diagnosed with cancer, you're considered a success. You're no longer in that statistic of someone that did not survive cancer. So it looks as though you have totally healed, and that's it. Cancer is done with that person. If you happen to pass away 5 years and 1 day from the date of your diagnosis, that's a success. Even though you died 5 years and 1 day after the date of your diagnosis, they wouldn't count that in their statistics, because that's a success. So I know most of us would like to be around much longer than that. And one of the things that we can do, the very first thing that we need to do, is address our diet. When you go to the oncologist with a cancer diagnosis, the first thing they want to do normally is surgery. That's their the first tool they have in their toolbox. They don't ask you what you're eating. They don't care what you're eating. They don't talk about your diet. That's not a part of cancer treatment in the allopathic medical system. And I have a diet plan that I'd like to talk a little bit about, and it's not one that I created, it's one that I use. It actually came from someone named Chris Wark, who wrote a book called Crispy Cancer. That's the name of the book. And his diet plan, I can tell you that it works. It's not very, it's not real unique, because a lot of other holistic health practitioners have recommended similar diet plans. And basically what it is, it's a plant-based raw food diet. And in that diet, first of all, there's certain foods that you have to avoid, like white flour, because wheat is refined and it's bleached, and it has really no nutrition anymore. It has no value. So you want to eliminate those things from your diet. And you want to eliminate meat and dairy and most grains. And one really huge thing you want to do is eliminate sugar from your diet. It's a good idea to eliminate sugar from your diet, whether you have cancer or not, just in general for your overall health optimization. But when you have cancer, it's so extremely important to eliminate sugar from your diet. Cancer cells thrive with sugar. When you're eating sugar and let me just step back a minute. We all have cancer cells flowing through our bodies, but when we've been diagnosed with cancer, we don't want to add sugar into our body because you're feeding the cancer, literally feeding the cancer. So you have to eliminate sugar. That's extremely important. And you have to eliminate meat and dairy and wheat. And it's important that we eat raw vegetables. We don't want to eat cooked food during this period. And it's not forever, but for a period of time, at least 6 months, we don't want to eat cooked food. We want to eat raw, whole food, plant-based foods. And when I say whole, I mean no processed foods. All of the foods that we eat shouldn't have labels on them. If there's a sticker on it, it could tell you that it's where it was grown and if it's organic or conventional produce. And we want to stay away from the conventional produce. That's another thing. We want to eat as much as we can organic, because the pesticides and the herbicides that they spray on the conventional produce also contributes to cancer, creates cancer. So it's imperative that we do not eat conventional produce. And there are some foods that are powerhouses in terms of fighting cancer in our body, and it's a group of foods called cruciferous vegetables that are amazing. Cruciferous vegetables consist of broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, kale. All of these vegetables fight cancer in our body. So we want to have a diet filled with them. I'm going to go over some other foods, but another thing that we have to really, really focus on when we have cancer is juicing. Juicing is paramount. And there are many different juice recipes that you can follow. There are some that include a lot of carrots. There's a Dr. Gershon. If you may be familiar, he had a cure for cancer. The Gershon therapy is very, very popular. Books are written on it. His daughter followed in his footsteps, and there's a holistic cancer treatment hospital called CHIPSA that's still in existence that does nothing but holistic cancer therapy. But there are many different juice recipes that you can use. Like I said, you can do one with carrot juice. You can do one that's green juice. They are loaded with phytonutrients that help the body fight cancer. So, and that's something you want to do every day for at least 6 months. You want to consume about 32 ounces of fresh juice. You want to make this juice daily. You know, a lot of us make juice. I juice for people. A lot of times we might hold it in the refrigerator 2 or 3 days, and that's fine when we don't have issues like cancer. But when we have cancer, we need it to be fresh. We need to make it that day and drink it that day. So juicing is extremely important. If you can't do it yourself, there are places that you can go and you can purchase juice. In my area, buying fresh juice can be very expensive, and it's not in everybody's budget. But there is a place in my area called Mom's Organic Market that makes fresh juice at a very affordable price, and it's always organic. It's called Mom's Organic Market, and it's always organic, and they make it right in front of you, and it's very inexpensive. So a lot of times we want to use money as a reason why we can't do something. It's your life on the line, so you got to spend a little bit of money. And if you can do it yourself, that's definitely that much better, and you can save a little money doing it yourself. But you have to get juicing in your diet. It's extremely important. Extremely important. There's a salad recipe that I followed, which basically just consisted of cruciferous vegetables, and you have to make sure that you get some fermented vegetables in your diet, some kimchi or some sauerkraut, something like that. Add it to your salad with your mushrooms and your leafy greens. Your diet has to be really, really clean and simple. You have to keep it simple. It's not difficult at all. It could become a little monotonous, but it can save your life. So I highly recommend it. And if you ever want to get more information about it, I'd be happy to talk to you personally about it. But like I said, the cruciferous vegetables, they contain a compound called sulforaphane. It's a sulfur-based compound that is very potent. It's a liver detoxifier, and you definitely want to get that in your diet. Another thing you want to get in you can add to your salad or however you want to consume it, is sprouts, like broccoli sprouts, because again, broccoli is in that cruciferous vegetable family, and they contain 25 times more sulforaphane than the actual broccoli. So you want to get the sprouts in your diet. Sprouts in general have they're more nutrient dense than the vegetable that they would grow into had they been allowed to grow into a full-grown vegetable. Mushrooms are a powerful immune-boosting food. You want to get those in your diet. Very important. They have they work very, very particularly well in bodies with breast cancer. So eating raw vegetables every day, like mushrooms, will definitely contribute to your healing. Again, keep it simple. Extremely important to keep it simple. I have any questions so far? Comments? I'd like to give out one simple juice recipe, and it's carrots, celery, beetroot, ginger root, turmeric root, and you could add a couple Granny Smith apples to that for a little flavor, and garlic. Garlic is very, very powerful. There are a few spices that you want to add to your food daily, and garlic is one of them. Turmeric is one of them. Ginger is another. All these are anti-cancer spices that you can add to your food. Turmeric is one of the most potent anti-cancer spices. So you definitely want to make sure you get that turmeric in your body. It's the curcumin is the active ingredient in the turmeric, and it's been shown to inhibit the growth of different cancers like bone cancer, breast cancer, brain cancer, colon, liver, pancreatic, stomach, bladder, kidney, prostate, ovarian, and the list goes on. Curcumin is awesome. So we want to get that in our bodies. You know, we know it as turmeric. You can do it. You can have it fresh. It's a root. You can add it to your soup. If you can make a raw soup. Actually, you just don't cook it. You don't let it boil. You just kind of warm it up. You put it in your blender, and you can actually warm your soup up in the blender. You don't ever have to add it to fire. Curry is also another spice that includes turmeric that you want to add to your food. Black pepper, which it actually enhances the absorption of turmeric, so you want to add that to your diet. Again, garlic. So add all these things to your salad that you're going to eat every day, every single day. So if you have
questions,
anyone have any questions on the diet?
Question, Susan, Sister Sharon.
Yes.
How about fasting compared to as a remedy also for cancer, and how long would one fast? I don't have cancer, but my last meal today was 5 o'clock. I'm not going to eat again until Monday morning. Well, Monday afternoon, 12 noon. What do you say about that, Sister Sharon?
Fasting is excellent. You know, I was going to get to that too, but fasting is an excellent tool for cancer and many other things. I mean, fasting is good for us as we age in general. We need to add fasting to our regimen, to our self-care regimen. But with cancer, like what you described, that's perfect. You know, we want to do more of an extended fast. With cancer, we got to do more than an intermittent fast. We need to do a prolonged fast. Sometimes we even need to, we really need to have a supervised fast. At some of these centers, like the CHIPSA, or that I mentioned, they help people. They assist people with prolonged fasting, because the longer you fast, the more, the better the results. And it's been proven that people have done 30-day fasts that actually eliminated the cancers from their bodies, and they may be in higher stages, like stages 3 and 4 of cancer. And fasting is totally powerful. Definitely recommend fasting. Fasting helps. A prolonged fasting helps create stem cells, which helps repair tissues and organs in our bodies, and that's what we need when we're suffering from any disease. But that absolutely does help with cancer. Yes, I highly recommend fasting for. I actually I do a class on fasting. I teach people the basics of fasting because it's such a powerful tool. It helps not only with cancer, but it helps with heart disease and many other things as well. Diabetes, you could eliminate diabetes, totally reverse diabetes with fasting. So fasting is something that we all need to do at some point or another. Give our digestive systems a break so that our immune systems can be optimized. Did that answer your question? Okay.
Most definitely.
Do we have any other questions? Okay. I'm going to go on to the next thing you could do to help.
Excuse me, Sharon.
Sure.
I have a question. Is there, I mean, the things that you were saying are pretty much how a lot of the ways that I've adjusted my diet over the past few years. But does it show that it will prevent cancer?
The diet?
Yes.
It definitely helps. Absolutely.
Okay.
It definitely helps to prevent cancer. Well, we have to keep in mind, too, though, there's many things. Cancer usually doesn't come from one source. I mean, maybe lung cancer might come directly from cigarette smoking, but most cancers are not that, it's not that clearly defined the origin of the cancer. And that kind of brings me to the next thing that I was going to talk about is like we have to detoxify our bodies and our environment because there's so many toxins that are carcinogens, which are cancer-causing agents that we're exposed to. So our diet is our first line of defense. I always say that's the groundwork. That is the foundation of our health is our diet. Period.
Mm.
We have to optimize our diets, and we have to get things like sugar and white flours and all those refined foods and processed foods. We have to work to get those things out of our diets because none of them are benefiting our health.
Right.
Right. They're all doing the opposite. So everything that we can do, we need to do to to protect ourselves from disease. But the diet definitely helps prevent cancer, but we have to do other things.
Thank you. My sister and I were talking about that the last couple of weeks. There's 8 of us, and out of 8 of us, 4 of us have been diagnosed with cancer sometime in our life.
Wow.
Nobody's died from it, thank God, but, we got over it. But we just don't want to deal with that if we don't have to.
Absolutely.
So we've been changing our eating, and stuff. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for that question. Yeah, I mean, 1 out of 3 Americans will get a cancer diagnosis in their lifetime. 1 out of 3. Which is startling and scary. And again, like I said, it's more than one thing that we have to do to prevent cancer. We have to eat a certain way. We have to detoxify our environment and our body, and we have to detoxify our liver is what processes all the metabolic waste and toxins that come into our body. So it's so important to keep them both clean. Both meaning our liver and our kidneys have to be kept clean. So we do that through our diet and detoxification. Our lymphatic system is our detoxification superhighway to our body. And when we detoxify, we're cleaning up ourselves and our lymphatic system. So we want to detoxify starting with our diet, and then we want to go on and make sure we have a lot of water and we want to make sure that water is free of toxins like fluoride. We don't want to add toxins to our body through our water, thinking we're doing something good and we're not. So, and we want to make sure there's no heavy metals in our water. So, a good water is very, very important. Chemical-free water. So we want to make sure that we don't have mercury in our bodies. That's a common thing, actually, because a lot of us got fillings in our teeth, maybe when we were children or, at some point in our lives, that those amalgam fillings, those black ones, and they contain mercury, which is poison. It's a toxin to the body, and it actually causes cancer. It's actually the most toxic non-radioactive metal on Earth is mercury, and it gets in our bodies because they put it in our teeth, and it's in our food because it gets into the fish. That's another reason why you want to do a plant-based raw diet. Because of we think, well, the fish, they're good, and unfortunately, some are better than others, but a lot of fish, especially the larger fish, they're exposed to mercury, and once we eat them, we're consuming it. We love our tuna and our salmon, and there's so much talk about, is it wild caught or is it farm raised? Well, definitely the farm raised stuff isn't good. It's unnatural what they feed those fish, and they add a lot of chemicals for color and taste, and they are, a lot of the fish are genetically modified. You have fish today that didn't exist when I was a child, and I'm 64, and they didn't have tilapia. They didn't have swai, baza. We didn't have those fish because they basically created those fish. They're hybrid fish, and we don't want to eat things like that. We want to eat natural things. And the salmon, the wild-caught salmon, it's just questionable because it's a larger fish. A lot of it has mercury in it. So we want to be careful. If you're going to eat it, we want to eat it in moderation, for sure. But when we know we have cancer, we want to stay away from all of that. We don't want to eat fish. We don't want to eat chicken. We don't want to eat any animal products. So you got to be mindful of that. But the mercury is the most toxic non-radioactive metal on Earth. So we want that in our bodies. And when we have cancer, and if we have those fillings, those amalgam fillings, we need to have them removed. That's the bottom line. We need to have them removed because they're not going to help us. And mercury causes so many other diseases. I'm just talking about cancer today, but mercury wreaks havoc on our health. So we want to be really, really, really careful about that. There's a lot of other things that we want to do to detoxify our bodies and our environment. We want to look at our home and look at the things that we use in our home to clean with or wash our clothes. What are we using? Are we using safe natural products, or are we using toxic chemicals to wash our dishes with, or wash our clothes with, or clean our bathrooms with? The regular stuff that we buying off the shelf at the market is all toxic. So we have to look at other things that we can use. There are many products on the market that claim to be non-toxic. Some are, some aren't, but we got to do our homework. We got to look at those labels. We have to read those labels. We have to look up each ingredient and make sure that it's something that's safe to be in our environment. You know, we have to look at the candles that we burn, because some of the candles that we burn are toxic, and we're putting toxic chemical vapors in our home by burning some candles. So it's got to be that specific. We have to get into what we're doing. We have to know what we're doing. There's also electro pollution that we have to be concerned about. The things we get from in our homes, like our cell phones, these devices that we have that are giving off radiation. Basically, we don't want these things in our bedrooms when we sleep at night. We want to use protection against these things. We can do that in the form of things like there's different substances that we can use to counteract the negative effects of the radiation that's in our bodies and in our homes. So we want to be really, 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 really careful with that. So again, detoxifying is extremely important. Like Forrest brought up, fasting is one way to do that. It's a great way to do that, to detoxify our body. We can do things like fasting, and we can do things like infrared sauna. Infrared sauna is another way to detoxify your body through sweating, and it also improves circulation, so your blood is flowing more optimally. So that's something that you may want to consider going somewhere to use it. I actually have one in my home that I use, that I let other people use. Or you can go, there are many places that you can go and use the infrared sauna very inexpensively. But keep in mind, when you do these things, you can't do them one time. You have to do them on a regular basis. And that's really important. So a lot of times it may be worth it to you to purchase something like an infrared sauna that you can do every day, at least for that first 6 months. And there's other things you can do, like red light therapy. It actually it uses another infrared, a near infrared, which actually gets right to the cells and helps the mitochondria function optimally. There's things like hyperbaric oxygen therapy that helps to get this, does basically the same thing, just a different method, using oxygen directly to the cells, gets to the mitochondria. An oxygenated environment is environment that cancer doesn't like. You want to make cancer uncomfortable. You don't want it to be comfortable in your body. So when you're not doing things like this, and you're eating sugar and meat and all these things that contribute to the cancer, you got to ask yourself, well, what are you doing? You want to do things that are healing. You want to do things that build your immune system, because the reason that cancer gets a hold on you in the first place is because your immune system is deficient, and you have to build your immune system. A lot of times people get things like intravenous vitamin C because it helps to build your immune system. We have to have certain supplements that will allow our bodies to fight, like vitamin D3. We have to make sure we have the levels that help our bodies to fight, because when we look at the FDA's daily recommendations of different supplements, they don't apply when you have cancer. When you have cancer, those recommendations, those daily recommendations, they're not sufficient. It's good to talk to someone to find out what amount of these potent, powerful supplements and vitamins you need for your body, because it's not the daily recommended dose. The dosage has to increase. It has to be more. So that's extremely important. Another way to detoxify the body is exercise. Exercise, when you move your body, you're increasing the circulation of your blood and your lymphatic fluid. So they both carry toxic waste away from your cells. You have 3 times more lymphatic fluid than blood, but the lymphatic system does not have to pump it. It only moves when you move. So you got to exercise. Even if you're only exercising 15, 20, 30 minutes a day, you got to exercise, because if you're sedentary and you're not moving, your lymphatic system is not moving. It's not able to circulate and move the toxins through it out of your body. So you got to exercise. Even if you do something like the small trampoline, you got to do something to get that lymphatic system going and move those toxins out of your body. Another very simple way to detoxify your body is deep breathing. Deep breathing is a way to detoxify your body, because when you breathe in, oxygen helps clean your blood. So when you breathe in, you're actually causing that process to go, even to do it. It's doing it all the time, but more. So you breathe in, and it helps to clean your blood, and then when you exhale, you're excreting toxins that have been converted to CO2. So deep breathing moves your lymphatic system around your chest, and this is so easy to do. So some of the things are so simple, but we're not practicing them, under normal circumstances the way that we need to. But when we know we have cancer, and get back to what Adrian said, prevention is really the thing that we really want to do. But if we know we have cancer, you got that diagnosis, you're that 1 out of 3 Americans that got that diagnosis, it behooves you not to do something as simple as deep breathing. So just remember, deep breathing is a detoxification method, something that's simple that we can do anytime, anywhere, every day. It doesn't cost us a dime. Deep breathing is very, very important. You have any questions so far? Okay.
Sharon.
Yes.
Also, you mentioned the lymphatic system. I have a rebounder. What about the importance of jumping up and down?
Yeah, absolutely. I called it a trampoline, but that's the word I meant to use. Rebounder. That's absolutely what you want to use. The rebounder. You can get those small ones, and they help. They help the lymphatic system to do what it's supposed to do, and they're very inexpensive. And something else is very inexpensive, and you could do it every day. That's really a key thing. I'm glad you brought that back up as far as the rebounder. I think uh, Brother Michael Tyson said he used to sell them or something, but you can get them anywhere, Walmart, Amazon, anywhere, and for less than $100. That's a really important thing to use to help detoxify your body, get that lymphatic system going. Really, really important.
I have a question.
Sure.
I hear about my sister has one of those rebounders, but I talked her into doing this because she lives on the 23rd floor where she is. I'm on the 6th floor where I live, and since I moved here, this has only been a few months, but I was going to the gym like 5 days a week before I moved here, but I stopped because there was a lot of stuff going on. But what I do is I walk down the stairs when I'm leaving out of the building. Every twice a week I might walk up, and I'm getting better at walking up, but I make it a habit of walking down the stairs. Is that about the same type of exercise?
Well, it's not the same as like rebounding. I mean, it's exercise.
Oh.
Exercise is good. It's good, but it's something with the rebounding. I guess it's the constant movement up and down in one place that really moves the lymphatic system. But it helps. It helps. Don't stop doing that. It definitely helps.
So my plan is I'm going to start going to the gym every day again.
Okay. Yep. Gotta keep the exercise going. There's also different supplements that help detoxify the body, and just get back to the foods a little bit. The cruciferous vegetables actually help detoxify the body, especially the broccoli sprouts, because
I love my broccoli.
the sprouts have 100 times more nutrition than the actual broccoli. So if you're dealing with something like cancer, you want to get the sprouts. I mean, you can eat the broccoli too. You eat the flowerets and all that too, but you want to get the sprouts in there because you're eating a much smaller volume of the vegetable, but it is so much more powerful. So definitely want to deal with the sprouts, and they it's just they have a lot more chlorella, and so there are different supplements that help detoxify the body, like sprouts, like cilantro. Cilantro is actually a chelator, so that's another one that we can use to detoxify the body. Milk thistle, red clover, burdock root, all of those help detoxify the body. So we also need to be mindful of things like our clothing. Keep in mind that the skin is the largest organ on the body. So whatever you put on the skin can be absorbed into the blood. So when we're wearing a lot of fibers that are not natural, like these plastics like polyester and rayon and spandex and that we wear, that's what's readily available. That's what's, the clothing that we can find, very inexpensively, those things actually are toxins that those clothing is made from. They have fire retardant chemicals in the clothing. These are cancer-causing chemicals in our clothing. We never think about that. I used to wonder, well, what is the big deal about, people wearing organic cotton, and these natural fibers, and the clothing is very expensive, but even, I love clothes, but you might have to just wear the same clothes more frequently if the dollars is a concern to you, but we have to be mindful of the clothing that we wear. There was a book written by Brian Clement. He's at Hippocrates. They have a center in Florida, and he wrote a book called Killer Clothing. If you want to know more about the clothing, killer clothing, like we don't think about that. How clothing that we wear is putting toxins into our blood, through our pores, into our blood, through our skin. So we have to pay attention to so many things in our environment that are toxic. And another thing we have to be concerned about is stress. Stress is extremely toxic. We have to work on eliminating stress if we have, an unusual amount of stress in our lives, especially if you have cancer and any other disease. It will contribute to it. It may have caused it. A lot of the doctors will never even consider looking at stress as a cause, but it can be a cause, because stress helps break down the immune system, and when the immune system is compromised, that's when the cancer cells start to grow even faster. And if we just keep going with the stress, we are sabotaging our health in general. And when we have cancer, that's a stressful diagnosis. It wreaks stress, but we have to control it. You have to control the stress, and you can do many things to attack it. And you use whatever works for you. Exercise is definitely one of those things that help reduce stress, and meditation. That is a major help to eliminate stress in our bodies, in our life. We need to meditate on a daily basis, and we need to eliminate stressful people that may be, adding to our stress. We can't afford that when we have a cancer diagnosis. So that's what we have to do. That's really all I have to say about detoxifying. It's your whole environment, your life, your mind, your thoughts. Thoughts become things. So if you have a lot of negative thoughts, you're going to, it's like a prayer. You're going to create whatever it is that you're thinking about in your life. So if you're thinking about health and healing and wellness and happiness, that's what you're going to help create. But if you're thinking about negative things, those things will create just as well. So, do we have any questions so far on that?
Hello?
May I have permission to speak?
Yeah.
And I'm getting ready to go off topic.
What's your name?
Does that also include like anxiety?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anxiety.
Because I've recently had to come off of my anxiety medication since this Ramadan, and I started, going to the gym and, with my prayer and my fasting, and I feel within myself now a lot of the things that would make me angry or bring on the anxiety, that it's not happy, like it's starting to die down.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, anxiety brings and stress. They work hand in hand.
Okay.
Yes. So you have to, figure out how to eliminate some of the anxiety. I know you said you took medication. Is that what you said?
I was, yes.
Yeah. So I mean that's a little, above my pay grade. I don't know how the medication, um, getting off your medication suddenly it can be a problem in general. So that's something.
Well, I was actually like weaned off of it, from my therapist. It wasn't like, a quick stop. It was, I was weaned, down off of it. But like I said, I just realized that, with the exercising and my fasting, and my prayers and things, that it's actually, I don't feel like the anger and the, things that would heighten, the anxiety has actually, died down. I'm not exactly, at zero, but I'm definitely, below 5, where at one point, I would go straight to 10. And I found that, they had different type of medications that, okay, try this one, okay, that's not working. Try this one, okay, that's not working, and I found that, again, the meditation and the prayer and just going for a walk, has definitely helped, and like I said, I know you were talking about cancer, and I was just, wondering if, anxiety is a part of, again, a stressor, that can cause it. Or is it, sometimes just like a mental type thing?
Yes, definitely. Anxiety is, anxiety causes stress. So definitely, it contributes to it. And, you're on track though with the, taking a walk, exercise. Exercise increases the endorphins that, help relax the mind, and the prayer component. So those, and prayer goes with the meditation. And then you might want to try things like massage. That helps. That can help with anxiety and the stress. So you're definitely on the right track. You're definitely on the right track.
Okay. Thank
May I be
you.
heard?
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Real quick question. You say that 1 out of 3 people would be diagnosed.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Did you use a figure of 1 out of 3
Mm-hmm.
diagnosed with cancer?
Right. 1 out of 3 Americans will get a cancer diagnosis in their lifetime.
Is that, do you know the statistics? Let's say we're here in 2024. I like to know probably, I don't know if you know, but like maybe 10 years, that would have been 2014, then we would have been in the 90s or whatever. I just want to know, has it been increasing? The only reason why I'm saying that is because when my mother was in the hospital, it wasn't cancer. She had I don't know, kidney failure is cancer. But I noticed at St. Barnabas, they were putting a whole cancer building. I mean, just totally, they sent information about this cancer place, and I was telling my husband, I said, Kevin, cancer must really be on the rise, because there's no way they're putting all that money into revolutionary cancer building there, because they are anticipating people to come there and service. So and that figure is very, very slim, but perplexing, but also is reality. I really believe that. I mean, every day I'm looking on social media and I'm seeing someone dying of colon cancer, pancreatic. I mean, and they're dying younger, not older, but you're having 35-year-olds, 25-year-olds. 40-year-olds dying of this, the cancer diagnosis. So it is very, very prevalent. And I like what you said, that how you have to keep exercising. Guy, previously, you have to have good thoughts, because I truly believe when your body is not calm, is in a state of disarray, I think everything in your body and your cells are in the same alignment. So I truly believe that definitely being stress-free is the key. So thank you for that.
Thank you for your comment. I'm just looking in the chat. Someone, I don't know who, Tiffany said that fasting also impacts anxiety. There are foods that cause stress that can trigger anxiety. Anxiety is excessive worry. So fasting may have improved anxiety. So thank you, Tiffany, for that.
Sharon.
Yes.
Forrest again. I just love it when we talk about fasting, because I'm getting ready for it tomorrow. Well, starting tonight, and I'm going into Monday. I'm going to try to do the 3 days, which I know I can do. Quick question. The benefit of a fast, all right? First of all, I'd just like to share with the family, the listening audience, because a lot of guys dinged in late for my show, but they came in. And I mentioned in the early part, there was a Dr. Spooner who came on Dr. Kamal Kakai's show on BAI. And a lot of people, especially if you're into the health field, a lot of people are very familiar with our dear brother Kamal Kakai. And Dr. Spooner came on. And luckily I got a lucky sister, because I'm always looking for new people, new scoops. And the sister gave out a website number. And luckily I got a good memory, so I called her, and she called me back the next day. I have her coming on the 20th. She does brain balancing. And what happened was, when we had an off-the-cuff chat, all right, she's a wonderful, good-spirited sister in New York. She told me about a lady named Mama Naya. Now, I'm going to tell you something you already know. I know there's a lot of them down there in Philadelphia, but we have a lot of great healers in Brooklyn, New York. And I called Mama Naya, and I made an appointment this past Thursday. And when I went to go see Mama Naya, the history that this sister has, she's 77 years of age. She's my elder, because by the way, just want to let y'all know, Wednesday, Mr. Forrest will be 67.
Oh,
okay?
Wow.
Thank you. Just want everybody to know. So just, cash at me, and I'll be happy. No, I'm just kidding, y'all. Keep your money and spend it on good health. But I had an appointment with Mama Naya, and I'm going to tell you something. I sat down, went over with my friend. Her skin was flawless. At 70, it was tight. And she just looks, oh, man, for 77, woo! And now, get this, y'all. Everybody's heard of Dr. Sebi. She was Dr. Sebi's personal assistant and secretary for 17 years. And how she met Dr. Sebi, because I had one of Dr. Sebi's lectures where he was at a church in Brooklyn. He came to Brooklyn quite often. And what happened was, she said she was coming out of a building one day. Her mother happened to be a healer. So there wasn't too many things that Dr. Sebi didn't say that she wasn't already privy to. So she had the healing from her mother, the healing class. So what happened, Sister Sharon, she said one day she steps out and she sees this tall, skinny guy, bald head, running up and down the street like a gazelle and stretching while he's running. And she said, they eventually stopped and talked. He said, I heard things about you, sister. So they started talking, and once he understood what she knew, he asked her to come work with him.
Mm.
And what happened was they formulated a friendship. She happens to know all of Dr. Sebi's 3 wives. And she told the story. I was sitting there. I was just absorbing the knowledge of what the sister had to say for a whole hour. And when I went over there, and I would like to say to everyone listening, like when I visit Sharon, I'm going to let Sharon know, just like with Michael Tyson up here, hey, what you got to offer? Is this what you're offering? Okay. I spend money with all of, I've said from day one, since I've started this network, we all are supposed to share and support, all right, especially a black business. And that's not being prejudicial. That's just looking out for each other in the culture. Because as we all know, family, in case you don't know, statistics will tell you, and I'm not trying to get off key with this, in the Jewish community, their money bounces around 18 times in their community before it goes outside the community. Asians, they're in the like 12 or 13, okay? Bottom line, family, is in our community is 0.1%.
Wow.
And that's why we have such a problem, excuse me, within our community in terms of building up, because everybody else comes into our community, opens up their stores, but if you go culturally into their restaurants, there's none of us working in there, you know. And I have to consistently mind people over here in my neck of the woods, and they said, well, far as just being a little prejudiced. I said, no, it's not. It's called looking out. I said, the only place I eat, because most of the time I cook my own food, but when I go outside of my house, all right, there's 1 or 2 places that I go to eat, because you can't trust everybody eating. I know the brother, Blueberry Cafe in New York, and he'll be at, the event, Sharon, August the 10th, along with Zucchini Bar, and he also have Cell Power with Abundantly Wealthy Stan and his niece. So I support these places. I've supported them with my dollars, okay? And everybody tries to get a little fancy schmancy. They want to go to this one. They want to eat over here. And don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong. I'm not telling somebody where to go to eat. But I believe that we should support a black business before we venture out and look elsewhere. But I'm going to tell you, I got Mama Naya coming on sometime in May. She said to give her a call next week, and she'd be more than happy to come on. I gave her a business card, and she was just a wealth of information I spent money with. I spent close to over $200 with Mama Naya. I did the bitters. She has one that cleanses your liver. Everything is liquid. And she said, brother, you come back, and I'll make something for your eyes that you can drink. Because I showed her, Sharon, a bottle of the Black Bees honey, which are drops that you use for the eyes. And people, it's like most people taking it for the first time, to them it would be like a sting. But if you've been doing it for a while, it's more like a sensation in the eyes. And it cleanses. You close your eyes, you tear after a while. Just have a wet rag because it's honey, along with the Sananga, because we've had Brother Sachin and Brother Omar who will be at the event with their Sananga treatment for eyes. And people you're going to jump. It's like putting cayenne in your eyes, but it clears the ducts in your eyes. Mm-hmm. But I just wanted to share that. Oh, and the last thing, Sharon, she told me that she had fasted when she was with Sabi for 45 days. Wow. Every now and then she would take a spoonful of sea moss. And I said, could you repeat that? She said 45 days. She said there was one time she got off the train in New York. She felt a little lightheaded. She sat down for about 15 minutes, got up, walked away. She had to go. Okay? So if I can't do 3 days and that sister did 45, what is that saying about me? All right? I like to tighten up, and I was just like, she was an inspiration to me to even mention 45 days. And they said Jesus did it for, 40 days and 40 nights he fasted. So if Jesus could do it, and a lot of us are Christian brothers and sisters up here always talks about Jesus. Well, how many of us, when it comes to nutrition, because it tells you, and I'm not a Bible scholar in the book, how to eat, how many of us flip that page? 45, fasting, next page. You're good for quoting other things, but what about what Jesus did when it came to his diet? Are you practicing what Jesus said? You practice what he said, and that's wonderful. To be a good Christian. but what about your diet? So I try to be I don't claim any theology, just spirituality. I'm Christian when it comes to my diet. I'll just end on that, sister, and I'll let you know when Mama Naya is coming on. Sister, I hope when you'll be the following show, Sharon, because for someone to say they fasted for 45 days, that's my shiro, and I concur on that note. Thank you, Sister Sharon.
Thank you for that, Forrest. Yeah, again, fasting is such a powerful thing. And it's sad that the medical system doesn't really talk about it. They actually would try to persuade you not to do it, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I actually a real doctor that actually promotes fasting for the first time. The first doctor I've ever talked to that promotes fasting. So I guess they're coming along, but because it's he said himself that fasting, the medical profession doesn't talk about it because there's no money to be made. There's no money to be made in fasting, but we just have to be mindful though when we do those extended fasts. Everyone can't just do that. People taking medications and all these different things like that need to have some assistance. Not saying you can't do it, because you can do it, but when we're doing extended fast, when we're doing more than 5 days, we need some assistance. That's something that I would like to offer a service to help people with extended fast to make sure that they do it in a healthy, safe way, because it doesn't always turn out to be that, if you don't know what you're doing. You need to know what you're doing. But anybody should be able to do a 3-day fast on their own, and they'll see immediate results. That's one of the great things about fasting. You don't have to wait to see results. You see immediate results. It depends on what you're looking for, but even if it's weight loss, it doesn't necessarily have to be reversing disease, although it's a powerful thing for that. But even weight loss, you could. It's a great way to do it. Actually, when a lot of times when people lose weight through just regular diet and exercise, then they might, especially if they're older, their skin will hang. That sarcopenia shows up and the skin will start to hang. But when you fast and lose weight, the skin remains tight. And for me, at my age, I think that's a real incentive to do it that way, But there's so many benefits to fasting, so many.
Sharon,
permission to speak? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Michael. I think.
Yeah. Hi. I love what everything you're saying. One of the things I went through when fasting, I have to prepare myself to fast before I actually fast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go out and eat all crazy stuff and then fast. I usually eat a lot of salads, drink a lot of water, then I fast, then I prepare myself when I go off my fast. And I think that's where a lot of people have problems. They need to prepare themselves before they actually fast. And I realize I can go on a longer fast when I do prepare myself. And also, I just want to let people know we all have bad habits. And I tell people, those can be changed too. I said, we've been trained all our lives on other things, but we need to retrain ourselves. And a lot of people don't think of it that way. You have to, retrain yourself, get rid of those bad habits, don't eat late at night, things like that. And also, there's a lot of people who are constipated and they don't even know. And that's why they get emotional and have a lot of problems. I had a couple of friends, they were like that. I'm like, so I used to ask them, did you go to the bathroom? I'm saying, why do you say that? I said, you're kind of miserable. I know babies get that way when they constipated. They get irritable and the mothers can tell. So my baby must be constipated. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And that's so true, though, about preparing yourself for a fast. A lot of, I recommend that maybe you might want to start with intermittent fasting. Make some dietary changes and then do some intermittent fasting before you do a prolonged fast. That's one way to prepare. And then when you break your fast, that's really important. You don't want to break your fast and just, go back to eating whatever you were eating before you even got into this process. You want to do it gradually, and you want to make sure you include the right foods or liquids. Because one way to break it fast is to use liquids or like soups and broths and juices and things like that, and gradually add foods back into your diet. So yeah, that's really important. Thank you, Michael, for bringing that up. That's really important. I think somebody else wanted to say something.
Sister Sharon, there's people don't realize there's also different ways of fasting. Mm-hmm. My daughter in her church during the month of January, they do a fast where they give up eating meat. Some people can fast, like right now we're in Ramadan and our fast is different, but there's so many different ways to, and I appreciate what the brother just mentioned, because before my fast, I fast on Mondays and Thursdays, which prepared me, for my 30 days. But there's so many different ways that, you can fast. It doesn't mean, from sun up to sundown, you can give up certain things that are toxic, in your life to fast and bring you, into a different mindset. And a lot of people, I can speak for myself. I'm going to speak for myself. When I first started fasting 20 years ago, it was the first 10 days was the hardest for me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry, and I had to actually, it took me years to actually get to, where I am right now today, even, with my mental state and, the anger and the anxiety and the different things that, I didn't realize that, was self-inflicted. I can't, blame it on, anyone else. And I did for years, like, oh, you did this to me, so that's why, and just like totally, in a whole nother lane, which, I'm grateful, this year, that I was able to realize and sit back and know that those things, it's a thought process. You think about it first, and then it manifests. And that's where, I realized that it came out, with me, and I have a lot of people, to apologize for some of, my actions that didn't have anything to do with them. It was actually me, and again, like I said, just appreciate, what the brother, just said. It takes, a lot, to just, I think, Brother Hand mentioned about the sister that fasted for 45 days. Again, I commend her for that, because just the 30 days was just like, really, and I watched my 18-year-old, and I'm like, if he can do this, why can't I? And I realized this is what kept him at a humble state and has me, and at a humble state right now. And like I said, I've acted out, and blamed it on everybody else, and didn't realize that, that was actually, you blamed it on, everyone else, when actually, those were your actions. And, I, again, owe, some people, an apology for, me acting out, which I didn't have to. And the power of prayer is just, it's awesome, because it can bring you back to reality as opposed to acting out on those thoughts, before, or let me say, those actions, before, you think about it, and I'm just grateful, today that, I've realized that, and like I said, it's different ways that, you can fast. And before this Ramadan came in, I started doing Monday and Thursdays, which in my religion is obligatory, and it prepared me for, where I am today. And, I'm just grateful for that. And I just want to thank you for, this podcast, because I've learned a lot of things that I didn't know yesterday that I knew today.
That's great. Awesome.
So, thank you.
Sharon?
Yes.
Hi. So, it's Ibadane. I came on as you were speaking about anxiety, and someone, she was speaking about anxiety, and then it moved on to cancer, and then it moved on to fasting. Michael came on perfectly because I was wondering if the half ounce of wheatgrass first thing in the morning and then fasting throughout the day, would that be like cheating? Or would that be good because your body's getting initial nutrients that will help sustain it throughout the day? And then I was thinking with the anxiety, I learned that iron deficiency causes anxiety, and some people who are suffering with anxiety are literally being infused with iron because it is one of the side effects of iron deficiency. And also that turmeric is good for anxiety. It's an anti-inflammatory as well, as we know. And I'm just wondering if how those two things work, and if there's possible, this is a thought that just came to me, is there a possibility of inflammation in the brain, like something in the brain that's swollen, inflamed a little bit? Because our body is such an intricate machine that if something is out of place and pressing on something else, it causes reactions.
Right.
So when I heard that turmeric was good for anxiety, that's one of the things that I thought might be that correlation, that there's swelling in the brain somewhere, not to cause people any anxiety. And also with cancer, as Susan was talking about St. Barnabas, I've been paying attention since I was born, but I do remember that in the 70s, I would hear that Miss So-and-so had cancer, and I wouldn't hear cancer again. I personally, at 7, 8, 9 years old, wouldn't hear cancer again for like 2 or 3 years. But now it's 1A, 2D, 4B, the person next to you on the bus. And I can't imagine that they're really getting a hang on this cancer thing when Sloan Kettering has gone from one building to a city on the east side of Manhattan. There's so many buildings, and they've expanded themselves to the neighborhood now. There's Sloan Kettering centers and neighborhoods like there's eyeglass places. So they are expanding what they're doing, and or they're titling things according to symptoms, which satisfies the money need again, which satisfies their need to, okay, if it's under this banner, we can do this. The other thing I learned is that they consider sickle cell blood cancer.
That's
And
I've heard that.
Yeah, they consider sickle cell blood cancer. So they're actually, it sounds like, moving toward any type of blood disorder they want to label cancer, like the multiple myeloma. And I don't know if we should really be accepting that. So I just always tell people, get a second and third and fourth opinion. But as Michael speaks about on his show, that wheatgrass and the value of it in building your blood to be healthy and cleaning your system. There's so many things we don't know, but they're right before us. They're just right before us. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. I wanted to comment on a couple things you said, but as far as, well, Michael knows all about wheatgrass, but if you're going to fast, and the type of fasting that I talk about is water fasting, and intermittent fasting, and when the fasting period is always water. Now, if you add wheatgrass to your fast, what you want to do is you want to measure the effect of the wheatgrass on your blood glucose level. So you need to be able to test your blood to see if when you ingest wheatgrass, does it increase your blood glucose level. If it does not, then you can use it on your fast when you're fasting. But if it does, that's going to break your fast. That's not going to allow you to go into the to get to those things like autophagy. Like through fasting, you get to this place after 18 to 24 hours called autophagy, and that's when your body is doing a cellular cleanup. From the cellular level, the cells are getting a cleanup and repair. So that's one level, and then you get to a place where you are the human growth hormone is increasing in your body, and then you get to a place where stem cells are developing in your body. So these are different levels of optimization in your body that you want to get those healing, that maximum healing that you can get from fasting. So it starts with knowing that you're not doing anything that's going to increase your blood glucose level, because if it does, that's not the type of fasting. You're not going to be fasting, really. You're really not going to be fasting to get those kind of benefits. So that's important. So make sure you test your blood glucose level. Just do a test, and see if when you ingest the wheatgrass, does it increase your blood glucose level? Because everybody, it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. None of this is. It might not increase one person's blood glucose level, and then it might increase someone else's. So if you increase your blood glucose level, you're not in fasting mode. So know that. Know what you're doing. If you're working on disease, I'm not talking about if you're doing religious fasting or for other reasons, but if you're working on improving your health, that's important to know. And another thing, somebody mentioned how when they fast, they would be so hungry, and just keep in mind it's a hormone in our bodies called ghrelin, and they call it the hunger hormone. So when we get that real hunger that often makes us, give up and break our fast, don't give up. Just deal with it. Go find something else to do to take your mind off of it, because it only lasts about 1 hour. If you could get through that hour of that hunger, and it's not real hunger, but it's a sensation that we feel that we associate with hunger. If you get through that hour, it'll go away. It'll go down and go away. So remember that. That might help you get through that. And then the topic tonight was cancer. I know the last person that spoke, we went all over the place, but fasting helps everything, and fasting helps improve cancer and many, many other things as well. But we're at the end of the show.
Is it possible for me to share one thing or two?
Go ahead, Tiffany.
So I wanted to respond to what someone said, and I started in the chat, but quickly. So cancer diagnosis for the age group of 25 to 50 has increased 79% over the last 20 years. So there is studies and reporting showing that with more severe diagnoses that may lead to fatality.
Wow.
And so one of the ones that are constantly mentioned is cervical cancer. And so for women, that's important. And so the other thing was someone had mentioned turmeric as like if you had an inflamed brain. And so, like, how that supports anxiety. So just keep in mind that, like, if you deal with hypertension or diabetes, one of those symptoms is high levels of irritability that may feel and look like anxiety, worry, and, you could use turmeric to support those conditions. There's also a thing called intracranial hypertension, which I suffered from years ago, which is essentially a high fluid flow through your brain, and so that it's almost like inflammation there. So the tumor could support that, but there's a whole host of like minerals and other nutrients that can help you manage anxiety or overthinking. But like a good diet, mindfulness practices, they'll all support that, and learning how to set boundaries of the stress that you're going to introduce into your life. And so like stress, does allow for disease to manifest, but like looking how off track we possibly have gotten, but not really. We know one thing that feeds cancer is sugar. So if your doctor is prescribing all these medications and all different types of things, but is not working with you on maintaining a healthy diet and maybe eliminating sugar and all things that turn into sugar wholeheartedly, that's where we also see an increase or lack of improvement in a person's condition. But that's all.
Thank you so much. Tiffany was on our show once before. She's a therapist, and she knows what she's talking about. So we're going to have to bring her back another time so she can talk more on these topics. But I'd like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. It's a little after 10, and we're going to say goodbye, and I'll see you again on the first Saturday of each month at 8:30 p.m. So thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy your upcoming week. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.